Whew.
AI.
That felt good, didn't it?
The cool new thing to clickbait about and to hate on relentlessly. It's one of the most exciting developments ever. We're creating thinking brains out of sand. This is the future, and it will drive humanity forwards and will yield all kinds of benefits. However, its power is a double-edged sword, and it is already clogging the internet up with rubbish, enabling all kinds of imaginative scams and manipulative behaviours, and could spell the end of the world. But most importantly, it could also be a problem for CS2. The problem is simple. If computers become good enough at mimicking humans, current anti-cheat methods break down. What can we do about that? VAC was never designed to detect this kind of stuff. The best suited defense Counter-Strike had against this issue was Overwatch, an AI-driven system itself to try and detect suspicious player behaviour, before relying on human review to judge and to train its own detection systems. I'm not sure I trust AI to detect AI, but the thing is, I don't trust humans to be able to do it either. They're already rubbish at telling what's human generated and what's AI driven. They can't even tell when it's just a low quality MP3 file. And as AI becomes increasingly advanced and capable of mimicking human behaviour, the false positives and negatives will grow until the system eats itself. We would need to go back to the Stone Age. I'm talking LAN-based events for anything of competitive significance, as that's the only way you can physically check to see that a human is playing, unaided by our neural network friends. And if the online scene becomes swamped enough with AI characters and AI-assisted humans, it could undermine the whole competitive scene. Even if the problem isn't there, once people lose trust in the system, it no longer works. Pandora's box has been opened, AI is not going away, and I suspect this is already a very real problem, whether you've noticed it or not, and one that will only grow with every month.
PUBG Ally, the world's first co-playable character designed to play like a human teammate.
Maybe you've had AI-driven characters in your matches already. Maybe they were already better teammates and better at cooperating with you than your human teammates were. But it's a problem, and it could be that competitive human-based esports becomes a casualty of the revolution. To think that online multiplayer competitive games will only be a thing for a brief snapshot in human history. Let's look at chess. That's something that computers bested humans at decades ago. Online play is still there. It just requires a certain amount of trust, and I've got to say the amount of endgame pros I meet who suddenly gain superhuman powers the moment I start winning is frustrating. But maybe I'm just rubbish, or get impatient. I can't tell, that's part of the problem. Trust is important in any scene that can be abused. There have been things in the past that have attempted what AI is doing now. The difference is, AI is just much better at it, and faster to develop. Photoshop has always been a thing. Since time began, way back in the Stone Age of the 1980s, images have been doctored for amusing and for malicious reasons. But until now they've required time and effort, and a certain amount of passion or reason to create. Quantity has its own quality, and simply the sheer amount of fake stuff AI can churn out every day is alarming. Google anything, and the websites you see and the images you browse will be clogged up with AI-generated stuff already. You think you know what's AI and what isn't. Maybe for now, but as time goes on you'll notice less and less AI-generated stuff. It's not going away, it's just becoming too good to detect anymore. At that point, does it even matter if it's AI or not? Nvidia showcased another AI-driven NPC, this time a boss, who will continually learn from the fights it has against humans. Every win, every loss, it will develop from this, and will become increasingly difficult to outsmart. Whether or not it becomes unbeatable, I guess depends on the balancing of the creature. But don't be fooled, this hasn't been created to benefit players. This is done to learn just how effective AI can become at countering traits that were previously only seen in humans, like ingenuity, cunning, and the ability to adapt. Also, I guess it's cool to say that you've created the first AI-driven boss. In my opinion, AI in games is there to be fun and to reward a player for overcoming a fixed challenge of sorts. I can't wait to see it in single-player games. Its current reason to be in Battle Royale, I suspect, is first to test out AI-driven bots, but also to make every real human in that server feel like they're doing well. I love being able to shoot a few other characters, even if they might just be bots. For them not to exist and for me to get relentlessly destroyed every game by every other player makes me feel like I'm merely dedicating my precious time to be another person's amusement. How long do you think I'll carry on playing those games for if I feel like that? Anyway, I'll be following how good that AI-driven boss becomes at winning with great interest. Imagine if, with enough training, it becomes undefeatable, and then they discover they can apply the same learning to real-world combat drones and robots. Oh no! Don't blame RTX cards for all this though. Even back with Battlefield 1, before RTX cards were a thing, EA Labs were experimenting with AI-driven NPCs. It sure helps them to learn when the developers of the game are there, training them up and assisting them in their journey by dropping in hints all over the maps. Doesn't look like it went anywhere though. You know, the Total War series. I think even the earliest Total War games in the series still used neural networks of some sort to get large groups of soldiers behaving like a convincing crowd of sorts. For CS2 though, it doesn't really matter how amazing AI-driven characters can become. It doesn't matter if they can become totally unstoppable. That would be its weakness, and would get it instantly detected and blocked. For AI's sake, it's best that it remains fallible and human, so as to avoid detection from the systems that be. Rather eerily, in games, it's not an evolutionary battle to become the best. For AI, it's the race for the non-human to become the most human. And I don't see the arms race ending anytime soon. In fact, I think it's only just getting started. For where there's money to be made, there will always be people attempting to exploit it, and from now on it seems there will be AI bots assisting them with that goal. A new arms race has begun, and I'm interested to see how Valve tackles this, if they even can. Maybe they could put all the suspected AI players in servers with other AI players to keep them busy. Anyway, if they do find a way to counter it, don't expect them to reveal it, since it will only make it easier for those training the AI to exploit any potential loopholes. I guess I was excited about AI bots because I grew up with bots. It was never about human versus human, it was about me versus bots, and then humans with bots against other bots. I would have loved to have fully configurable AI-driven teammates I could tailor to my battling fantasies, back when I was playing Unreal Tournament, Morrowind, Red Eye, because the AI will be Red Eye for anything. I mean, I got into Counter-Strike to make maps for it because of its bot support, and because it was so excellent for the time. The idea you can make a map that had never been seen before, boot it up and play it with the AI that already knew it better than you did the first time you loaded up your own creation, it seemed magical. In a way, it still does. I wonder if AI will help mappers to balance their creations. But that's not relevant to this video because that's positive. I'm here to make you fear and hate AI. It doesn't just risk derailing competitive play, it's also about farming cases, beating other cheaters in an endless cheating arms race, and about gaining EXP and levels on accounts which can then be sold to real people for real money, thereby brute forcing a way through Valve's time-based barriers of entry that are currently in place to protect honest, real people against the horde of new and often maliciously driven accounts which just can't wait to get into a game with them. Just ask Team Fortress 2 what that's like. And unless something is done about it, Counter-Strike 2 is heading in the same direction.
We are still confident that machine learning will profoundly change game development and gaming experiences in the years to come.